Imagine a city with no name, no borders, no centre. More than 73.6 million people live here, generating 7.6% of China's GDP, yet it doesn't officially exist. On paper, it's 7 separate cities: Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Foshan, Dongguan, Huizhou, Jiangmen, and Zhongshan, each with its own government, administration, and borders. But drive from one to the next and you won't find a boundary. No checkpoint, just continuous urban sprawl stretching for hours in every direction. Chapter 1. The Invisible Border. Together, these 7 cities cover a combined land area of 38,352 square kilometres, larger than Belgium, Albania, and many other countries. Huizhou alone spans 11,347 square kilometres as the spacious eastern wing, while Jiangmen stretches 9,535 square kilometres in the southwest. Guangzhou anchors the centre with 7,434 square kilometres. Foshan adds 3,798 square kilometres of dense industry. Dongguan compresses 2,460 square kilometres into a factory floor. Shenzhen packs 1,997 square kilometres of high-density tech. And Zhongshan completes the western loop with 1,781 square kilometres. The population numbers also seem impossible. Guangzhou officially has 19.0 million people. Shenzhen has 18.2 million. Dongguan has 10.5 million. Foshan has 9.6 million. Huizhou has about 6.0 million. Zhongshan has about 4.4 million. Jiangmen has about 4.9 million. Together they form a single geographic entity that functions as one system. Yet when you search world's largest city, you won't find it. When you think of megacities, Tokyo, Shanghai, and New York come to mind. Not this, but this seamless 7-city block is only the core of something even larger. The Pearl River Delta, a region that stretches beyond these boundaries to include Hong Kong, Macau, Zhuhai, Zhaoqing, and more. Chapter 2. The Pearl River Delta. The Pearl River is southern China's great river system, draining a basin of more than 450,000 square kilometres. The resulting delta is flat, fertile, and faces directly onto the South China Sea, a geography that for centuries made this region China's primary window to the maritime world. At its heart lies the Pearl River Estuary, a funnel-shaped bay 80 kilometres long and 35 kilometres wide, guarded by Hong Kong on the east and Macau on the west. Everything that passes between the South China Sea and the interior must move through this estuary, making it the strategic gateway of the delta. Historically, Guangzhou, at the northern apex, was the only Chinese port legally permitted to trade with foreign merchants. Later, the transformation accelerated when Shenzhen became China's first special economic zone in 1980, exploding from fishing villages into a global tech capital. The rest of the delta followed suit, creating a massive megalopolis of 11 major cities. But here's the distinction. The Pearl River Delta includes 11 major cities, yet if we strictly define the physically continuous metropolis, only 7 cities have truly merged into one seamless urban fabric. Hong Kong and Macau remain separated by water and political boundaries. Zhuhai and Zhaoqing still have visible edges where countryside interrupts the sprawl. So while the Pearl River Delta is vast and interconnected, its prime core is the 7-city block that has fused into a single geographic entity. Chapter 3. The cities that merged. To understand how this happened, you have to go back more than 50 years. In the 1970s, Shenzhen was still a fishing village. Guangzhou was a colonial trading port struggling to survive. Foshan was industrial but scattered. Dongguan was farmland dotted with workshops. These cities weren't meant to connect, they were meant to compete. But geography had other plans. The Pearl River runs through all of them. The same river, the same delta, the same coastal access. When China opened its economy and poured investment into the south, something unexpected happened. The cities didn't stay separate. They merged. Factories in Shenzhen needed workers. Workers came from Guangzhou and Foshan. Trucks carrying goods from Dongguan passed through Foshan to reach Shenzhen's ports. Supply chains built bridges. Infrastructure carved corridors. Before anyone realised it, you couldn't tell where one city ended and another began. What made this merger unique was the speed and scale of integration. Highways, metro lines, and industrial parks were laid down in overlapping grids. Migrant workers moved freely across municipal borders, chasing jobs in electronics, textiles, and heavy industry. By the 2000s, The sprawl had become so dense that commuting patterns ignored city limits entirely. A factory shift in Dongguan might be filled by workers living in Foshan, while engineers in Shenzhen spent weekends in Guangzhou. The result wasn't just urban growth, it was urban fusion. 7 cities, locked together into one continuous metropolis, functioning as a single organism even while remaining administratively distinct. Chapter 4. The Infrastructure Spine. A true city announces itself with a centre. Tokyo has Shinjuku, Shanghai has the Bund, New York has Manhattan. The Pearl River Delta doesn't work that way. Instead, it runs on a spine of trains, highways, and supply chains so dense they've created something new. High-speed rail links Guangzhou to Shenzhen in 30 minutes and connects Foshan, Dongguan, and Huizhou in under an hour. Expressways weave the cities together, making cross-city commutes routine for millions. The network wasn't designed to build a megalopolis. It was designed to move goods. Ports at Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Jiangmen feed container ships into global trade routes. Trucks push inland through Dongguan's logistics corridors, distribute through Foshan's factories, and reach assembly plants in Zhongshan. Manufacturing happens in one city, assembly in another, quality control in a third. The supply chain itself became the city. Unlike traditional megacities that grow inward and upward, the Pearl River Delta grew outward and connected. There is no single downtown. There are dozens, each serving a different function, all stitched together by infrastructure that makes distance irrelevant. 73 million people live inside this networked organism, a metropolis defined not by a skyline, but by the invisible spine that holds it together. Chapter 5. The Economic Gravity. What pulls people into the Pearl River Delta isn't a skyline or a single downtown. It's the sheer spread of opportunity. A factory worker from rural Hunan doesn't move to the Delta. They move to Shenzhen because a plant is hiring. Next year they might shift to Dongguan for better pay. Later they might end up in Foshan. Jobs aren't clustered in one place. They're scattered across the entire region. This is the economic difference between the Pearl River Delta and other mega regions. It isn't built on one industry or one employer. It's built on specialization and competition. Shenzhen drives electronics and tech. Dongguan powers mass manufacturing. Foshan dominates ceramics and appliances. Guangzhou handles logistics and trade. Huizhou, Jiangmen, and Zhongshan fill critical niches in chemicals, textiles, and light industry. Together, they produce more goods than many single countries. Your phone likely has a component made here. Your clothes were probably sewn here. The container ship that delivered your last online order likely departed from one of these ports. Chapter 6. The Saturation Point. The megalopolis absorbed more than 73 million people by spreading outward, flattening distance with trains, highways, and supply chains. But efficiency has limits. Water is already pumped from thousands of kilometers away. Rail lines strain under demand. Housing costs climb as space runs out. Pollution lingers, despite decades of remediation. The system has reached the ceiling of what horizontal expansion can achieve. The next chapter is uncertain. Will it reinvent itself vertically, densifying like Tokyo or New York? Will it unify into a single identity, finally claiming the title of megacity? Or will it remain a dispersed machine, optimized, fragmented, and unseen? For now, it stands at saturation, a metropolis larger than Netherlands in land area, more populous than South Korea, yet still without a single name or center.